We move now to the next theme of this book series, to the question of spirituality. And Francesco, of course, you're not only a guest, you are a former research fellow here in Tübingen, so you've been part of these conversations in one way or another for a long time. And of course, when it comes to the question of the study of Muslim spirituality in the Western academia, the work of Professor Chodkiewicz has a very prominent place. So as one of the editors of this volume, in honor of his work, I'd like to ask you, how did you approach curating the structure and the themes of the volume to reflect both the scholarly breadth and the spiritual depth of Chodkiewicz's engagement with Ibn Arabi?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I'm very happy to be here in Tübingen, and especially in this new building at the occasion of his Ainu. So I'm really touched. And moreover, I'm very proud to have been involved in this third volume, forthcoming, yes, the third volume, which actually is directed by Professor Danny Grill, who was my mentor. But I'm supporting him with technical help for finalizing this quite complex volume. So I would like just to say 2 words about Michel Chodkiewicz first, because maybe our audience is not. It was born in 29 and died in 1929 and died in 2020. He was Chodkiewicz, he was French, but from a Polonese family who fled in France. And so he was actually not a full professor, he was a director of a series in the L'Édition du Seuil, which is one of the most important editors in Paris, in printing house in Paris. And actually, at the end of his life, he became director of studies, directeur d'études à l'École pratique des hautes études, which is a special establishment for the study of religion in Paris. It was not, he had a life outside academia, an intellectual life outside academia, and maybe we have in the room someone who met him for several years. And Professor Chodkiewicz was quite discreet about his spiritual affiliation. He was a Muslim. And yes, he published 2, maybe one of the most important books on Sheikh al-Akbar, Ibn Arabi. But he came to Ibn Arabi as well, because he published first some letters of Amir Abdel Qadir Jazairi, then a treatise from Al-Bailani, the treatise on unity, and then he started his research on Ibn Arabi, because he was really interested not only in Ibn Arabi but on the school, but on the school of Ibn Arabi. So this was just a general introduction to explain how much we are indebted to this figure of Professor Chodkiewicz. And when he passed away, Professor Grill felt that it was his responsibility to have a volume, a commemorative volume. And this project started many years ago, and it's a big volume. I mean, my Word file, is 700 pages, because it's very hard to select the participants. And maybe at the same occasion, I discovered how widespread and international was this audience from Professor Chodkiewicz, who had friends and colleagues in all over the world, from the Arabic world, and from Syria, Egypt, and many parts of Europe. Different generations were touched, so I never met him. He wrote me a letter. And so this is a special volume, and Professor Danny Grill is like the key between this presence of Professor Chodkiewicz and maybe has the
Isnad, part of the Isnad.
And intellectual Isnad. So how we organize the book, you will see it, but that's the first part devoted to the study of Ibn Arabi, which is the main core of Professor Chodkiewicz's legacy. But then there are general studies on Sufism. But I understood, arranging the volume, that actually we are following his own spiritual travel, or spiritual life, because it started from Al-Andalus, ended in Damascus. And because his sheikh was a Shwani sheikh, and there are many articles about the Shaziliya and the Naqshbandiyya as well. So this volume will not be only devoted to the figure of Mary, but also to other many important trends in Sufism. And in a way or another, all these trends are linked with the legacy, and it's also it's live. And so this is kind of line.
I think you were mentioning before we came here the importance. I mean, because I'm reflecting even from the point of view of this institution where we study Islam from within.
Yes.
But that comes from, in many ways, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking, that our work builds on the legacy and on the path in many ways opened by people like him.
Yes.
That in many ways, if I remember correctly, used the term, he brought respectability to the field of teaching Islam in the European context.